I mean, that was just a huge fight, huge ovation. How are you feeling right now?
Ecstatic and tired. But no, I'm thrilled that I had the opportunity, and I was able to pull out the W like that. And a decision, I didn't think that would happen because I wasn't sure I'd have the gas tank to go, but luckily I was able to kind of punish him a little bit and bring his battery down to my level. So it's great. I'm thrilled.
When you got the call this week, what was your weight at that point? Because obviously we could see the relief when you did make the weight limit. Well, what were we looking at here with this weight cut?
Pretty heavy, like not anything that I'd want to do again. Like it's not like I was ballooned up in like 150 pounds. I was closer to 150 than 140. But I mean, I was in shape and ready. It's just when you have a fight camp and you have 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks to get ready, you kind of slowly bring it down a little bit, and then you kind of dial it in to cut weight so you're not killing yourself. But I mean, in an opportunity like this, you don't throw your health to the caution or to the wind, but you make an educated guess on if you can do it, and the opportunity, and it was worth it for sure.
Maybe it helps a little bit that you didn't have so much time to think about this. You could just go in and do your thing.
I think that probably had a lot to do with it too. Yeah, I was kind of thrown in the whirlwind a little bit, papers and radio and all this. So you kind of eating chicken and spinach for a couple of days and getting your weight down, you kind of forget about it, and you don't think about all the hunger pains when you're running around doing stuff. So that was kind of a blessing in disguise as well.
You mentioned your gas tank as the role played in this fight. How much of a role did the fan base play in getting you over that hump and helping you power through in the second and third?
Yeah, the third round, for sure, yeah. Luckily, like I said, I was able to kind of bring his tank down a little bit. And then hearing the crowd, too, I was like, there's no way that I'm not going to leave everything that I possibly can, hearing that in the background. So it's definitely it was the turbo that I needed.
What was it like walking out to that reception? It was quite something.
Yeah, it was great. There was a moment where I was starting to just get a little too excited, and I was like, hey, bring it down a little bit. You got to get the job done, and then you can kind of let it all out. So, but it's amazing to know that that's for you, right? It was pretty phenomenal.
TJ's role tonight, I saw him talking to you before the third round. It was all very calm, very hushed. Talk about TJ's role.
Oh, he's great, man, because he's been here. The same with Scott, my manager. Like, both of those guys have been here so many times together that, they bring it calm, because it's not like we're a team that have just showed up here. It's their first trip to the big leagues, and everything is fresh for everyone. Those guys knew what was up, and I just kind of dropped it in their hands, and I just worried about what I had to do.
But it is your first trip to the big leagues. Did you experience any octagon jitters, or was that just you were completely calm and focused?
Yeah, no, to me, it was just another fight, especially because it was home, too. It wasn't like I was traveling or anything. I fought a few times in Halifax, so for me, it was just don't let your emotions get out of whack. This was just another day in the office. Like I said, I didn't have 8 weeks to worry about it or anything. But I've also been to a couple events and been in TJ's corner before, so I've seen kind of how it works. So it's kind of not new, but definitely not familiar.
Talk to me about the Fit Plus dynamic. Yesterday, it seemed like you were clearly rushed right out of the sauna. You're still in the plastics. Scott Klein goes up to Sean Shelby, appears to apologize like he doesn't know if you're going to make weight or not. When you made weight, he reacted like you won the lottery. Tonight, you win. We're waiting for the decision to get raised. TJ Grant behaves like he just won the UFC lightweight title. Talk about that dynamic and kind of that vicarious living. You ended up being the only Nova Scotian on this card, and you can tell the extent to which Scott and TJ lived through you.
I mean, we're a family, I think, the way that we train, and the guys, we're all friends. We hang out together, we live together. We kind of live through each other in all these experiences, right? So it was, vicariously, I live through them when they're in those moments, and they live through me. We kind of enjoy it together because we work our asses off together. So, it's a great, dynamic that we have. And, the weight was close, so Scott was like, it's close. The guys asked me when I was walking on the bus, how heavy are you? And I'm just like, or how much over? And I'm just like, it's close. Because I didn't know. I threw them on, and I was like, throwing it up, said a prayer, and jumped on the scale.
Did you give us a figure, Chris, when you found out you were going to fight? What exactly did you immediately hit the scales and find out?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'll keep that hush-hush.
Yeah,
I do.
At the end of the second, you had him mounted. You were having a lot of success with the strikes, and you went for the armbar. Were you aware how much time was left in the round, and were you thinking that you might have been able to finish him strikes at that point?
I thought I was like, if I could have held my breath, I thought the ref was going to stop it. Yeah. I really thought, I was like, man, this guy isn't even hovering over us right now. I hit this guy with some bombs. He didn't stop it, so I was like, I got to try to go for something to, maybe I can pull it out, just looking to finish it. A lot of my fights have been decisions the last few, and I know I'm stepping up in competition, so it's kind of just getting used to that, how to play the game with a higher level. But I thought for sure I had him finished in that mount. But
did you think you were in trouble in the first?
No, it's just, man, I was just starting late, I guess, you know. It was just thinking too much. After you get going and you stop thinking about it and everything just happens, and then you see those opportunities without thinking. That's, yeah.
It seems like Pat at the weigh-ins might have kind of gotten in your face and started jawing a little bit. Was there any sort of ill feeling between you, or was it just?
No, I mean, he didn't like, he told me out back. It kind of started out back. He just said that he didn't like some of the things I said in the paper, that they were disrespectful. But I mean, it's a fight. You know what I mean? Like, I told him my attitude is to whoop someone's ass. I'm like, obviously, you get paid twice as much money when you do it. Why would I not want to? You know what I mean? So I was just like, that's what my attitude is. And I don't know if it was just mind games on his behalf or whatnot, but then we had, he brought it up again in the line for the weigh-ins. And then I just said something to him to get him kind of amped up, because I'm not going to get emotional. He obviously gets emotional, and kind of use that to my advantage. That's why I sent him the chocolates this morning. So the pot of gold. It was a rainbow talk we had a little bit. I just told him I was the unlucky pot of gold at the end of his rainbow. And he said he didn't believe in rainbows, so he got a box of pot of gold.
You didn't believe in rainbows?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Lucky rainbows. Maybe, I don't know, man.
Chris Monty mentioned in his story about your work as a youth pastor. Can you tell us what you do in that regard?
Yeah, I was a youth leader. Like, I helped out with youth groups and stuff, and younger kids and youth groups, and just mentor them and that type of thing.
Do you still do that?
No, not right now, no. This has kind of been my gig for the last little while, and it's kind of overtaken what I do, my time. I have a wife, so wife and fighting, that's pretty much all you have time for now.
So now that you've chalked up your first win in the UFC, what are you planning to do to celebrate?
I'm going to get together with as many people that is here that I know. Like, as soon as my name was announced, I had people looking for tickets like out the yin yang. It was ridiculous, coming from all over different provinces. It was to me, it was a shame when they announced the card that nobody from Halifax locally was on it, because I think that just fueled the energy, right? But we've seen it, right? If there was nobody there, I don't know, would there be that many people here? Would you have that energy? So it's kind of nice to have somebody local and have so many people get behind it.
Who got your tickets to the show that you were originally going to be going to?
I have my wife's friend dates a guy that is actually in Mitch Gagnon's corner tonight. So we sold, she got a couple, and then a mutual friend got a couple other ones, and then got my in-laws and my parents a couple from the UFC, and it's great. TJ actually had tickets for the front and center, and so he was cornering me. So his wife is in one, and my wife's in the other, so they got a front row seat to see the whoop ass.
How many did you buy when you thought you were just being a spectator?
The story is this: when we bought the tickets, I tell my wife I was pissed off. I was like, man, I don't want to buy these tickets. I should be fighting on this card. I don't want to buy these tickets. It's true. Like, I don't know, like, it was just wishful thinking or what, but I was like, man, I should be fighting on this card, and the stars aligned and everything happened the way it did, and I'm thrilled.
To that end, can you talk about how the Malcolm Gordon and Adrian Woolley fights prepared you? I mean, you came in on short notice. You were in a grind against a guy who had a sensational UFC debut. Patrick Houlihan looked incredible when he made his first octagon appearance. Do you think you're maybe more ready to take a fight on 6 days' notice? Because the Malcolm Gordon fight in Bellator was a tough grind, very close fight. Your fight with Adrian Woolley, much the same thing. For a guy who's only had, a half dozen or so fights, you kind of had more tough, nip-tuck experiences than most guys.
That's what I wanted. Like, I was 5-0. And I was like, I definitely want to step it up. But before I ever think about the next level, I wanted those type of fights, because I wanted to prove it to myself too, right? You always have like these voices inside, and you dream and you think that you can do this, that, and the other thing. But I wanted to prove it to myself. So the Gordon fight was awesome, because 8 days notice, I was like, 8 days notice, that's never happening again. Oh, how about 5 days notice for the UFC? So it was, having that experience, a bigger organization than what I'd fought at before, and then the Woolley fight, like a wily vet like him. Man, and then have this 4 times in 1 year I fought this year so far. It's only October, and 2 really tough guys. Was number 2, he's number 1, Woolley number 3. So mixing it up with the top guys in Canada, this is like to cap it off this year is amazing.
What do you think it says about the popularity of the sport to have a live event come here to Nova Scotia?
It's awesome. I think it's incredible that now the people are becoming more educated about it, and it's growing. It's good. It's good. It's really good.
How does the atmosphere compare to other venues that you've played at?
This beats anything. 100 times to none. This is incredible.
When you were going through the weight cut, I mean, it's so ingrained, obviously, this is part of the sport, but is there ever that moment when you're doing this where you're just thinking, man, why do we go through this? Why do we do this? You know what I mean? It's obviously something that's never going to change or anything, but it's just this incredible process you guys go through that I think a lot of the audience never really sees what you guys are going through the days leading up to weigh-in day.
No one can experience it. Like, even the guys that are in your corner, unless they've done it, they have no idea how low you can get. I mean, I'm fortunate. I've never had issues cutting weight or doing anything like that, except for this one time. Just because 5 days is just enough time to barely get prepared to cut weight. And if you have to lose weight on top of that, good luck.
Now, you've been really willing to take fights on short notice, like Malcolm Gordon, like this fight here. Are you going to continue to be, you know what, I'll take whoever they put in front of me, whenever they put in front of me? Or do you want the next one to be a little bit more measured, pick your opponent, do a full camp?
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to say they want a short notice fight over a full camp. But, you know, I'll take the opportunities as they present themselves. But I want time now to develop my skills and get a little better and be more prepared so that, you know, when you face somebody else, you're not still at that same level. You've kind of grown a little bit as a fighter, too.